Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back, everybody. We've talked to her before about her ability to communicate with animals. Yes, she is an animal communicator. I've seen it. I know that some could hear those words and think, really? Come on. I've seen it in action. She's done it for me. She's told me things about my animals that nobody would ever have known. There's just no way that she would have that information. So I know that is the real deal. And so is the other part of her. She also does animal psychic communication, and she also does psychic readings for humans. We've never talked about that aspect of Shirley Scott. And we're going to dig into that today. She joins us once again. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Steve. I hope you're doing good, too.
Doing well here. And for you, when we say psychic readings, what does that mean? And I'm asking because somebody even said to me the other day, what's the difference between a psychic and a medium? And I have my thoughts, but I wasn't 100% sure. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, a psychic can, see sort of into the future. Nothing is set in stone, and I want everybody to know that. Psychics can say, this is what I see. If you get into a green truck on Tuesday, you're going to have an accident. So you just don't get into a green truck on Tuesday, and it won't happen. And a medium is more of somebody who talks to the dead, who gets messages from, and I hate the dead, disembodied spirits, like ones that can talk to our loved ones on the other side. So there's sort of a distinction between that. Many mediums are psychic, and they have feelings. There are some that are not, and there are some psychics that cannot cross the veil and talk to disembodied spirits. So that's the main difference.
So nothing is guaranteed. There's no guarantee that you'll always get something on somebody. But how do you get something? Does it come to you? Do you hear something, taste something, smell, see?
Yeah, and everybody sees it a little different. I get either pictures or I hear words. Like last night, I had a client whose dog was having an emergency surgery, and I told her that the dog probably had cancer too. And she confirmed that today. The dog passed away, unfortunately, last night. But she confirmed that when they got in there, yes, he had cancer too. He had a spleen that was bleeding, and I said he's probably have cancer in his chest, and you need another X-ray when you can do that. But I felt that he had cancer, and it was like it just came to me like I heard the word, he's got cancer. The other day I was working with some people on a human reading, and it was a murder attempted suicide case. And they just said, we need to talk to you about this person. And I said, I heard murder, and I heard suicide, and heard those words. And I have asked my spirit guides not to show me any blood, guts, or gore. So they will tell me, or I will get a picture of something like if somebody is hit by a car, I will see them and I will see a car. I won't actually see the hitting of them because I've asked not to see that. But in many cases, I will get words, and then a lot of times in picture-wise, I either get like animated things, like I'll see Fred Flintstone for something, or I'll see some sort of animated picture, so it's not so horrendous for me to look at it. And then sometimes, like with animals will send me a lot of pictures. I'll see like a field that they're in, or I'll see, their house or something like that. So each psychic gets their messages different. None of it's wrong. And you have to, a lot of times, interpret what you're seeing seeing or hearing. But the other day when I was doing this murder-suicide attempt thing, boy, it was coming through from, they had asked me to get hold of one of their relatives who was on the other side and ask if they could fill in the messages, and that relative just filled it in like crazy. And then we went a little farther where I got in touch with the person who attempted suicide, was not successful, but in very critical condition, and got in touch with his spirit to see where he was and if he was actually going to come back into his body or not.
Wow. When you can't get something for somebody, why do you think that is?
Either the person that I'm reading has a block and they really don't want to hear it, and so my spirit guides will say they're not ready for this. They don't want to hear this. Or the person, say there's a person on the other side they want to get hold of, those people have as much free will as we do, and they might not want to talk to them. They just might not. Now, to get a message that maybe isn't coming through really well, there are there's a vibration of energy between people, and if that energy just doesn't meet, you're not going to get anything because you're not supposed to. You're probably not the psychic that's supposed to read for them. There's probably somebody else. And if you talk to most psychics and people who go to different psychics, each psychic sometimes gets a little different piece of the puzzle when it comes to questions. They will all sort of emerge at the same place. But I have a client who goes to 2 psychics, and I know the other psychic she goes to, and she comes to me. And we always sort of agree on things, but we maybe get different pieces of information for her.
I'm just going to throw it out there. If you ever get anything on me as an example, I'm fully transparent, got nothing to hide, will validate as needed. I just throw it out there. Never hold anything back.
Okay.
For you, when did this all happen for you? When did you realize that you've got a little something different than the rest of us?
You know, it all started with my near-death experience, and we've talked about that a little bit. But when I came back into my body and when I got out of the hospital the next day, that's when it really took hold for me. I mean, the next day I was seeing auras around people's heads. I was seeing, colors around animals, and I was seeing, I thought they were ghosts. They were spirit guides walking through walls. And I was seeing a bunch of stuff, and I was starting to get all these messages that were so strange because, a waitress had said she didn't feel good and she was going to give our table over to another one. And I happened to say, well, it was the pepperoni on your pizza last night. And she looked at me and she said, how did you know that? And I was like, oh, no. So I had to watch what I said because I'll pick up things like that. And that's when I knew it was really happening. And so I just dove into it with both feet and studied it and went to classes. And, my life has been amazing ever since because I see things different than anybody else probably, and I see things that people don't see.
You're a little bit different in that you try to connect the dots, as I understand it. And we both believe, and many do, that everything does happen for a reason. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we don't know the reason, but I have to believe that you also maybe try to help somebody understand things a little bit differently. Yes. Things. Why did this happen? That led to that. That led to this over here. You try to piece it together for somebody, as opposed to, well, I've got a lemon on a counter. I've got a, it's just random stuff. There's a story behind everything, right?
There is. It's just like the client whose dog passed last night. She emailed me and said, what have I done wrong? Why am I being punished? And I wrote her back and I said, you're not. Some animals and even some people come into our life to experience the most love that they can get because deep in their soul, they know they're not going to live long. And so a lot of times, especially in animals, the angels will bring us animals who are not going to live long or who are diseased, and we give them the best life that we can, and then they cross over. But that is what some people actually, their purpose on earth is too, is to bring this love together. So if we can look at it differently, as I'm not being punished, I'm helping that person or that animal and give them all the love that I can and understanding while they're here. That's a huge, burden, but it's a huge gift. And so, that's what I told her today. I said that's why, because she's had quite a few animals come to her and not live real long, and she's not done anything wrong. And that's one of her purposes, is to give these animals all this love and attention and, give them the best life that they can have.
We talk about things happening for a reason, and I mentioned to you last time we got together that one of my cats suffered an injury. It was a little scary, but he was fine. Could have went way worse. Don't need to get into any of the details. But this was a cat who was, loving but a little skitterish. He's done a complete 180 in terms of his mushiness now, in terms of his wanting to be around anybody. I wasn't able to kiss him on top of his head prior to this incident. I really feel that he's coming up and saying, "Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for saving my life. I appreciate it." And what's the overall reason? That's good. There's a reason behind everything. I'm not really sure, but I think that needed to take place to change who he was. And
exactly. He needed to realize that, there's more to life than just saying, "Hey, I'm standoffish, or I'm better than you, or I'm Mr. King here," type thing. And he needed that kind of scare, if you want to put it that way, to realize what life was all about, and to realize that he could die. He could die. And what would he have missed out on? He would have missed out on, the love that he is now showing, and the love that he is receiving from you and accepting from you, and now giving back to you. And a lot of times in people and in animals, a near-death experience really brings out this, boy, I am going to make every day the best day of my life, because I realize that I could die anytime. I could, jump out of my body and be gone. And so, scares that are near-death experiences, even for animals, will change an animal's life.
Wow. The other cat, his brother, is super mushy, gets, all the attention. That's the cat. You walk in, he's up on the counter. He's like, give me a kiss, give me a kiss. He reaches out his paws. He's like, come on, give me a hug. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Every single time. It's crazy. And I almost look at the other cat that had the accident thinking, dude, you're missing out. Look at everything. You're missing out over here. And now he's realizing, this love stuff is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But it took that accident to really make him aware of that. What do you want people to know, Shirley, when you do readings for, we'll center on humans here. Okay. What's the takeaway? Are we doing this to solve situations, get understanding? Well, how would you explain it?
I would explain it as most people really know what they're supposed to do, but they need validation. And that's perfect. There are some people that come to me that, they've got to make a decision, and they're kind of leaning one way or the other, but their fear of the unknown has kept them from really going forward. So we go sort of into the fear of, the unknown, and I help them see that the unknown is really a good thing, and then I can see the positives of it and what the situations could develop into. And so people do come for not only validation, but to see clearly. That's why a lot of times I call myself a clairvoyant, because that means clear sight. And I can see what will happen to them if they take one road or the other road. And not that it's set in stone, but we can see the choices and how the energy could change and what it could bring to them. And then they have to do the work. I mean, everybody wants, a quick fix anymore, and there's no quick pill for your life anymore. And so, but it's validation of that, and to know that fear holds us back. I have a CD on my website, and it's called Face Your Fears, Change Your Life. And it's all about facing these fears of the unknown, because the only thing that stays the same is change. And if you don't change, you get into a rut, and you get into this place where more fear actually sets in. So I try to help people embrace change and embrace the knowledge that they have in their soul that, that you can really go forward, and this is okay.
I wonder if you can answer questions. For example, I feel in my situation, business-wise, that things are changing because the universe is trying to push me in another direction or pivot me over in another direction. When somebody presents, that's just a broad example, something like that, do you pick up from there and based on what you're receiving, be able to give some understanding?
Yes. Yes. And I'm going to use what you just said, sort of in your case. Everybody kind of gets comfortable in what they do. And, and it's great to be comfortable, but if you get too comfortable, the universe says, time to move on, time to do something else, time to expand your knowledge, or take the knowledge you have and expand it. And if we look at the opportunities that might be coming our way, and we say, wow, that is an opportunity there, and it's scary, but I can see myself going forward with that. Then when we do it, the universe just says, okay, we're going to open up these doors, or we're going to, roll the red carpet out before you. The energies that we have to remember is, if you put nothing out, you get nothing back. If you decide to go in one direction and it's the right way, the universe will roll everything out before you, and it'll just seem like easy peasy street. If it's the wrong direction, you'll start hitting walls, and you'll start going, okay, this isn't working. And we have to look at that as either you're not supposed to do it, or the timing isn't right, or maybe you're supposed to actually do it in a different way. There's kind of three options. So then I look at those in the way that a person should look at it and try it in a different way. I think in your case, you've got some doors really opening up, and the universe is saying, you need to look at these things because there's going to be a change in what you're doing down the road and the way you're doing it. And you need to evolve with it to stay current.
Oddly or not, I know what I want to do. I know what in terms of life purpose, feel what I should be doing. And I do a number of different things, but in this one area, and again, it's being aware. Like, why is that? A couple of doors closing in that area. It's almost as if the universe is saying, "No, you need to pivot over here." I'm not really sure where here is. That's my challenge, but I know I'm being told. I just know. I'm aware. After trial and error in life, I see the signs. Like, all right, you're trying to tell me something, universe. I gotta figure out where you want to try and pivot me over away from this over here. Not that over here was bad. It just ran its course. That kind of thing.
Well, yeah, and if you thought the doors were opening and they're closing now, then you do need to kind of pivot to the other way and see what's there. Because a lot of times the universe will take us in one direction for a little bit, and then the doors open in a different way. Yeah.
I don't know why, but I feel it. It's kind of a strange.
Well, okay, but that's you listening to your soul. If everybody listened to their soul, and like even when we're driving, and you think, oh, I'm not going to turn left here, I'm going to turn right, and you don't know why, and you never find out why. But it might be if you went the other direction, there was already an accident waiting to happen.
Right. Yeah.
So it's about avoidance of the hard things in life. And if we try to push through the hard things, we can probably push through them. Most of the time we can, perseverance type thing. But it's hard and it's kind of reckless, and we learn the lessons the hard way because the universe doesn't punish us. It never does. It wants us to go the easy way. It wants us to learn things the way we're supposed to, learn them on an easier basis. But if we push through them and the timing's not right or that's not the direction we're supposed to go, it's going to be difficult. You see these people all the time that are, they're just struggling. And I tell them, just stop. Just stop and do something else for a little bit. Then you can probably go back to it, but maybe you needed to take a step in the right direction, in a different direction. And a knowledge of some kind will be coming your way to help you. When one door closed for me, I was in corporate America when all of this happened to me. And I had been asking to get out of corporate America because I had started my spiritual life and I didn't like all the stuff that goes on there, and backstabbing and all that. And this took me 2 years later out of corporate America, like big time. And when I lost my job, it was a buyout. And of course, when there's a buyout, everybody that's already there usually, but they gave me this great severance package. And from that point on, I started my business of readings, and I started another business in Joseph, and things just went forward because when I lost my job, I didn't go into fear. As a matter of fact, when the guy told me that, he said, "Shirley, you've done a great job for this company for 7 years, but we're going to have to let you go." I looked at him and I said, "Oh, thank God." And he just looked at me like, she's crazy.
Well, fear is everything. Fear holds us back, as you said before. And just what you said, I can very much relate to it. I left a job after 26 years and a very popular radio show. Very good run. It was really good. Just was time to go. But I did have a severance package. So I was good for 6 months, but I still worried about it. What am I going to do now? How's this going to go? I knew it was time to go, but maybe I should have waited long. All of that. I don't want to say I regret worrying, because there was a lesson learned in that. But we do. We were. I'm glad. I'm glad you embraced it.
Yeah, we do worry. And fear. If we can remember, there's only two emotions, and that's love and fear. All other emotions come from those two emotions, love and fear. And if you can replace your fear with love, the fear will disappear.
Wow.
And then you can start thinking clearly.
Interesting. I've debated this with friends that anger, we've never done it before, and it's just another part of what you offer. How do we find you?
You find me on my website, which is shirley-scott.com. And there's a contact page there to email me. That's the best way to get through because I'm pretty busy and the phone line gets, pretty plugged. So just email me and we can set up a day and time and go from there. And whether it's for a person or animal or even a loved one that's crossed, I'm here for you. And I hope I will give everybody their power back and also explain why things are happening to them.
Love it. You are so grounded. I don't know what you're doing up there in the hills. A couple of feet of snow and 0 degrees Fahrenheit.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe it's that. I don't know, but that's what I detect from you. Like very, very grounded.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it's wonderful. It's refreshing. It's refreshing. Thank you so much for today. Really appreciate it. And looking forward next time we get together.
All right. We'll talk later. Thanks, Steve. Have a great day.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Have you ever wondered what your pet is thinking? Have you ever wanted to tell them something? Do you want to know what is going on in their world? Shirley Scott can help you talk to your animals. As an animal communicator with over 20 years of experience, she knows the questions to ask. She gets the answer right from the animal without letting her human emotions or judgments get in the way. Shirley can help you understand what your pet is trying to tell you. She can help with behavior issues, health problems, and other communication that might help the pet's human understand them better. Her books range from how to deal with ghosts and demons, how to talk to disembodied spirits, a workbook on how to become more positive so you can live a better life, a new children's book written from her goat's point of view, and even an animal communication CD. All of these and more are available on her website. Find out more about Shirley by going to her website at shirley-scott.com or email her at scott@shirley-scott.com. You'll find that Shirley is friendly, honest, and comes from a positive point of view. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.